Here's the preview video for Sunday, October 20th. Now, because last week on October 13th, we did not get into our small group baskets very much. And this is the story of Moses and the burning bush and the 10 plagues. This goes right up until today's story. Today's story for October 20th is Israel goes through the Red Sea. So we're gonna pick up with last week's activities. We're gonna do the Bible bingo. There's a bunch of bingo sheets here. Foam pieces to cover up the squares, and then here are the cards. So you might notice, like on this one, if you draw the snake, then there are 2 snakes. So some kids may need to cover more than one space. Good for them, lucky them. But go ahead and do that Bible bingo. That's gonna capture a lot of things that were talked about last week that once again lead up to today's story. So obviously Moses throws his staff on the ground and it turns into a snake. There was the plague that affected the livestock, things like that. And then it should also be noted the lighter gray square, that should be red, as if, when the river turns to blood. And then the dark square is the plague of darkness. So those were supposed to be printed in color, but I took a shortcut to save some money. So next, you have the Flat Moses activity, which is kind of like a flat Stanley type of thing. So we have a bunch of Moses cutouts here. Kids can each get one of these, color it, and then they can pick out a picture from one of the scenes of Moses' story of the 10 plagues, being in Pharaoh's palace talking to Pharaoh. There's also a blank page on here in the back of each little packet, but maybe on the blank page you have a kid who could, on that blank page, draw a picture of the Israelites crossing the Red Sea, or Moses parting the Red Sea with his staff. At this point, I would skip the memory verse motions and then go to this activity for today. This is just one activity. Well, it's a couple activities, but it's impossible science. There are 2 little science tricks to kind of approach this idea that, God parting the Red Sea, that's impossible. That didn't really happen. But just kind of having some fun with how God created the natural laws, and God's natural laws, and the fact that he created them, he can do whatever he wants with them. He can bend those natural laws. So anyway, the first activity is the upside down water trick. So you're gonna take a bottle right here. You have a ping pong ball, and then you have a pitcher of water. Start by putting your bottle on a plate just to kind of catch any overflow. And then I've already poured the water in here, and you wanna get it right up to the top. Try to get as much water in there as you can, and then take your ping pong ball, gently place it on top, and then just kind of touch it down, and it's sitting up there. Big whoop. Now ask the kids what they think will happen if you flip the bottle upside down, and if it works out right, you can flip it upside down, and the ping pong ball prevents the water from spilling out. So it forms a nice little seal around there, and then the surrounding air pressure prevents the water from flipping over. And you can even spin that ping pong ball right there and do it again, and it works just beautifully. So make sure that you flip the bottle over the plate or over the pitcher of water, just in case it spills. Next activity here is step through an index card. So an index card is just one of these. Ask the kids if there's any way they can cut a hole big enough that they could step through it. A lot of them will give you a puzzled look, unless they've heard about this before. But here are the instructions. I've tried to make some diagrams here on how it goes. But over here, so you have your index card, and then have the kids fold it this way, hot dog style, fold it lengthwise. And then they're gonna take their scissors, and from the folded edge here, they're gonna cut from that folded edge over to like the factory cut edge, but they're gonna leave about a 1/4 inch gap right there. They don't cut all the way through it. And then after making those cuts, they're gonna cut along that folded spine right there, and just cut all the way there. And then, like on the sheet, this step right here, so they have the 2 cuts, then they're gonna zigzag back and forth, making cuts that go like 3/4 of the way through. They're gonna cut from the factory edge to the folded edge, then from the folded edge to the factory edge, and just alternate back and forth. No cut is gonna go all the way through. At the very end, it'll be like this, and then they can carefully unfold it, and it will look like this, and they can stretch it out kind of like an accordion, and then they can step through that. It's kind of hard to show you with just one hand on the index card and one hand on the camera, but they can stretch it out like an accordion, and if they're careful not to tear the index card, everyone should be able to carefully step through that and kind of stretch it over their body and prove that they can step through an index card. So after that, you can flip it around to the back and go through that discussion part. And the bottom line for this week is you can do what you should, even when things seem impossible. So have fun with your groups. I think they'll really enjoy these activities, and we'll be sure to have more time for small group activities tomorrow. Thank you.